Good day to you all, I'm Kid Ruler. See this? This is my new book. I call it Endless Nightmares. Note the name of the author at the bottom of the cover, Christian England. That is the name I have decided to undertake as a published writer. After 5 years of writing drafts and editing the book from time to time, I reluctantly decided that I wanted to get the book published. I say reluctantly because when I wrote this story, what I originally wanted was to turn it into a theatrically released feature film. The same with other stories that I have been writing over the course of the last 9 years. You can see some of my other work on DeviantArt if you follow the appropriate link below. But as for this book, Endless Nightmares, allow me to share some of the story with you, starting with the synopsis on the back cover. Endless Nightmare revolves around a young 14-year-old schoolboy called Jamie Mandan. On regular occasions, Jamie is prone to having terrors in the night. One night, he has a nightmare that he cannot escape from, a nightmare that is called the Endless Nightmare. Jamie is now trapped and has to defeat the cause, the shadow of the nightmare. A ruthless man of evil blinded by spiritual insanity who vows he will get his revenge on God. Jamie cannot defeat the shadow without the help and guidance of his rescuers, the friendly spirits, Christian and Anthony Halo. In order to escape from Endless Nightmare, Jamie must use all of his courage to find a spiritual sword and use it to take down the shadow. But there is not much time before the shadow opens his dimensional bridge to engulf it with his evil power. Can Jamie succeed before it's too late? There's the evidence in the flesh for you to see. I've even put my photograph on the back cover so people know who I am by the face. I don't provide an About Me section within the book like many authors do, but I deliberately overlooked that, being that I am a first-time author, and that I didn't want people to know anything personal about me. As for the storyline, however, allow me to read you a short passage of my favourite scene from the book. "So what is this place that I've been brought to?" Jamie asked Christian. "This is no ordinary nightmare, Jamie. It's a realm created by the shadow of the nightmare. He calls it the Endless Nightmare." The Endless Nightmare? Why the Endless Nightmare? "For many centuries the shadow has been stealing children's spirits from your world and imprisoning them here where they can't escape. He's been using his suspects as a source for a major scheme that he's been planning for these countless years." But why does the shadow want to imprison children like this? It's a long story, Jamie. I wouldn't want to bore you to tears. One promise that I can make to you is that I will do my best to return you to where you came from. But in order to do that, you must stand up to the shadow's power. Again, another long story. Now Jamie smiled. He knew that he could trust Christian and his brother. Christian offered Jamie his arms, and Jamie hugged Christian warmly. Christian rubbed Jamie's back for a moment before letting go. "Why don't you speak to Anthony for a while, Jamie? He's dying to get to know you." Jamie turned to Anthony and had a talk with him. "I can see that you've got plenty of things to talk about, Jamie. I can answer a lot of your questions about the Endless Nightmare and the shadow. I don't know how to express my thoughts very well. Don't worry, I can understand if you're still feeling depressed from being brought into this realm so suddenly. It's a lot to take in, being separated from your human body like that." Jamie's eyes widened. "Is that why I can't wake up?" "Yes. Only your spirit has been brought here to this realm. Your flesh and blood remains on Earth in a hibernated state." "Then how is it that I can still spill blood when I'm being torn apart in this realm?" "Your flesh and spirit are still connected, even though you're not inside one another. If you spew blood in this realm, you'll be pleased to know that your mortal body doesn't suffer same." "That's good news." "Maybe. But, and this is a very big but, if you die here, your mortal body dies with you." I always loved that scene from when I wrote the manuscript. That's why I've chosen that passage for you. If you'd like to read the whole book, you can find it for sale on amazon.co.uk, the link to which can be found in the video description. When I first began writing this book, it was at that time I didn't have an intention to publish it as a printed and bound story. I wanted it to become a script for a theatrically released feature film. I had very little interest in published books. The only real exception was when I was a schoolboy. Naturally, in those years I didn't have a choice in many areas but to read or be read books. Among one of my influences was Welsh author Roald Dahl, who has been famous for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, and James and the Giant Peach, to name a few. But I can't lie in saying that I have always been far more a film buff than I have a bookworm, and in so saying I found more interest in seeing the film adaptations than reading the printed words. I also enjoyed the Harry Potter series created by J.K. Rowling. I had never read the books before I had watched all 8 films, but one night when I did eventually pick up the first book and sit on my bed to read through it, I only had the guts to read the first chapter, after which I never picked up the book again. The reason being is that the words in the printed book were far too complex for me to understand, for there was a lot of things in the book that never appeared in the films. Something about the first chapter of the first Harry Potter book got me wondering, if this is how authors need to write their books, I wouldn't stand a chance with the styles that I use. When I write stories, I like to make the words and the story easy to understand for both me and hopefully you, the reader, too. And alas, here I am talking to you about my first published novella. But how, may you ask, did I get this book into print? My answer is quite simple. I approached a self-publishing company based in Surrey, here in the UK. For £795, they promised to help me in the basic stages of publishing my book, including typesetting the pages, creating the cover, listing the book with Amazon, applying for an ISBN number, and providing me 5 complimentary copies of the final printed outcome. I have to thank all of the staff at Grosvenor House Publishing for the help that they have given me in making this a reality for me, particularly Managing Director Kim Cross and renowned author Faye Weldon for the tips from her special CD. Now I have something that I can show to my friends and family and say, I wrote that. By the way, I would like to say to anyone who is watching this video that if you have doubts about going to a self-publishing company to have a book published, do your homework on them first. Amidst the common belief that's circulating the internet that there is no such thing as a legitimate self-publishing company, I can confirm that there are legitimate firms out there, and Grosvenor House Publishing is among one of those really good people. I know that many self-publishing companies have a tendency to provide bad service and steal royalties because they care only about making money. I should know because I fell victim to one such company 3 years ago, called Author House. At that time, there was a different story that I tried to publish with the company, Author House I'm referring to in this case. They wanted just less than £600 to print paperback books for me in the online retail sector. After paying them a fraction of the price, one of their colleagues contacted me by phone, begging me to sell advertising prospects. And he was very persistent about it too. When I eventually got rid of him, my mum looked up details on Author House and found that there were countless complaints against the company, and that they had, what we British would call, a cowboy reputation. So I stopped paying the company any more money and terminated the contract with them. Another lady in America has posted a video of her story when she published with Author House. You may wish to refer to it before you think about going anywhere near them. But the moral of the story is, don't just assume that all self-publishing firms are bogus because the internet is telling you so. Do your homework. Because there are good companies out there, and they can be found if you put enough research into it. I've added some links to sites that I've included in this review. They can be found in the video description. please do have a look at the links. I feel they can help you. And finally, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. And who knows, maybe one day you could be a self-published writer yourself. Goodbye for now.